So here's the thing. I have one of these little posts in already, brackets rather, post brackets. They're great. You get them, okay, I've got some reservations about them, but they are great because it saves you digging a hole and pouring concrete. Also, I'm measuring 5 inches off the patio here, the edge of the patio, to set where these posts go. So if you don't have the luxury of working to a patio edge, you'll have to pound a couple of stakes in and string it. So that okay, so check where the bubble is. It's creeping up. This end is a little too high. So what I have to do is actually drop this end a little bit so it's perfect. I whacked it really off. I don't know if I got it or not. If you don't have a long level like this, you can just use a board and put a short level, you know, like one of these. It'll do the trick, because these babies, you know, they cost. Okay, so I'll check both the front and the back. I have to drive one more of these, and then we're ready to go. When you go to the home center and you pick out your 4x4s, they're usually in long lengths, and I wanted about 6-footers. So they took a 12-foot board and cut it in half, or so I thought. They're usually kind of, you know, a little bit half-arsed, so they got the half-inch here different. So it's really important to notice that, because you want to work to the shortest board. So I'm going to need to cut this board down to match the shorter board. So now I can put these two in place. This stuff is called top rail. This is called a dado. It's a channel through the middle of the wood. Just giving myself a sliver. And the beautiful thing about this is that the lattice slips into it and is held there. So if you can't buy this stuff in your area, you can fake it with a plain 2x4 and then 2 pieces of trim, like you could even use just quarter round or something, that make that channel on the surface of the wood to hold the lattice in place. So I'm going to cut this to the right length, and I'm going to build a rectangle that will hold a piece of lattice out of 4 pieces of the top rail. So I'll take the measurement from the bottom. Okay, so now the best thing to do is actually draw a picture of the way the thing is going to be put together. Because if I have a post here and a post here, so I have 2 posts, and then I'm going to have a piece of top rail that goes here. And that measurement is going to be 50 5/8. Oops, writing upside down. 1/8. And then, so that means the top piece will be the same amount. And then this measurement is going to come from once this one is in place, I can figure out how tall to make this one. Okay, I said I was going to cut some 2, and I actually went a little bit farther than that. In fact, I'm so close here, I can hardly wait to screw, because I've got the corners all lined up, and I've put little shims under each of the corners to make them more stable. Sheets of lattice come in 48-inch wide sheets. Okay, sheets is really the word. I'm going to just screw those 2 corners together and then slide the sheet of lattice in after cutting it to the right length. You just have to, I'm just warning you about the math here, because it can be a little confusing. Ooh, I sat on my hammer. So you remember these dados, the half-inch things? When you cut your piece of lattice to fit in, you have to account for that. So if you have to remember to add for here, right? Don't forget that, because otherwise you can make a drastic error and just end up buying way more material than you thought you needed, because you have to recut things. All right, so what I'm going to do is screw the ends together, as I said. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before when I said you have to remember that dado when you cut the piece of lattice. So I'm taking the inside measurement from the inside edges of the frame, and it comes out at 63 1/8. Then I have to remember, oh yeah, but I need it a little bit longer on each end. It's a 1/2 inch longer to fit into that channel. So I could just add 1 inch. But then I have to think, well, then it's going to be really tight, and I might have a real fight getting it in to the channels. So you take a little bit more off, so you have a little bit of play. All right? So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so here's the lattice, and when you buy lattice, try to pick the good pieces, because sometimes you get this kind of thing going on, where it's just hanging on the end there. And if you can't find a good piece, then make sure that when you do your cutoff, you get rid of the piece that's no darn good. All right, so 63 7/8. Do you hear that sound? Yeah, you make that a lot when you're doing a lot of carpentry. You'll notice that. It just starts happening of its own accord. And then, I'm going to mark it on the other edge as well, and then put this, I'll just use this level to draw a line across, all the way across. Your turn. Thank you. Okay, so now we test to make sure the cut was a good one, and I'll slide this in. Now you don't have to go right to the top, because usually you've got some play right up here. So you spread them, and then slide it in, and then grab the top, which in this configuration is the top, and line it up. See how it just sucks together? That's the beauty of screws. If you're nailing it, it's really a lot harder. Okay, so this is ready to go into place. However, first thing I want to do is bolt the pole, because look, it's all floppy and loose. And I've got a post leveler. I keep calling it a pole. It's not the right word, is it? Get your syntax and your vocabulary. So this is a really cool thing, but first thing I need to do is tighten down the bolts on the bottom. And they're arranged with a hex head, like so, and a nut on the other end. Ooh. Okay, now before I get it down, really cinched down, I want to, oh, it's even cinched down a little, really. But I'll just say this now. You want to check the plumbness of the post when it gets a little bit tighter, and you may need to shim it a little bit. There's a little bit of extra room in the bracket at the bottom. Good catch. And you might want to use a shim. But we'll get there in a second. And if you are using shims outdoors, make sure that they're cedar shims, not the indoor pine kind, because they'll just go to mush really quickly in the elements. So I'll just make these just a little bit tighter. Okay, so this thing, you gotta get one of these if you're doing the post thing, okay? If you've got more than a couple of posts, look, they're so great. They just go on with an elastic. Now I've got it's about a 1/4 bubble out. It wants to come this way. But I can fix that when I'll suck these two posts together. Ready? No, kidding. I'll suck it together with the panel that I just built. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna, we want to push it up so that it meets the top of the post. And that's because it's going to have a nice cap. And then I also have to worry about, I don't have to worry about it, but I have to line these up so that they're flush right here. Here, you can clamp yours off too. Oh, that's really painful. All right, so now I'll continue to pin this frame to this post, and then I'll make sure that things are checking out on the the post over there to make sure it's plumb too, and then we have the whole unit functioning as a single plumb individual. The very last thing to do is to trim the whole privacy lattice out with a little bit of 2x6 if you like, or you can put those cool copper covered caps on top of the 4x4s. It's kind of up to you. But I'm going with the Japanese looking overhang here, and when you're screwing the trim on, it's a really good idea to use go down in pairs, because that'll save the board from cupping. It gets that kind of a shape if you just put one screw in. Plus you can start a split more easily that way. Privacy. Yep. Isn't that something? Yep, just the way I like it. Got the chips. Now I can eat out here. Huh? They can't see me. They don't know what kind of wacky things I'm up to back here. Huh? Thank you very much. Their loss, isn't it? Putting up your own privacy lattice is a little bit complicated to get across in about 20 minutes of the show, but it's really fun to do. It's a worthwhile project. The aggravation level can be a little high if you're new at this, but stick with it, because darn, it's fun to have that privacy angle from the old hillbillies across the road.